Have you ever noticed how someone can earn $100,000 a year and still feel like they're barely keeping up? Not struggling exactly, not in crisis, but constantly tight, slightly anxious, always waiting for the next paycheck. On paper, it doesn't make sense. A six-figure salary used to represent financial comfort, especially in the United States and much of Europe. But today, for many people, it feels average. Let's walk through a familiar scenario. You're in your early 30s, stable job, maybe in tech, finance, marketing, something respectable. You earn $100K a year. After taxes, depending on where you live, that leaves you with roughly $65,000 to $70,000. That sounds like a lot, until it starts getting allocated. Rent or mortgage comes first. In most cities, that's easily $1,800 to $2,500 a month. Let's take $2,000. That's $24,000 a year, already gone. Then there's your car. Not a luxury car, just something decent. Maybe $450 a month including insurance. That's another $5,400 annually. Student loans. Many people are paying around $300 to $600 a month. Let's say $400. Now we're at $4,800 a year. Add groceries, utilities, phone bills, internet, basic living expenses, and you're easily at another $1,200 a month. That's $14,400 a year. So far, we haven't talked about anything extravagant. No luxury travel, no designer shopping, no big risks. Just normal life. And already we're at roughly $24,000 housing, $5,400 car, $4,800 loans, $14,400 living expenses. That's $48,600, out of about $68,000 take-home, which leaves you with around $19,000. And this is where things quietly unravel. Because that remaining money doesn't just sit untouched. It gets absorbed slowly by things that feel small in the moment. Eating out a few times a week, streaming subscriptions, weekend trips, upgrading your phone, buying things that make life feel a little more put together. Individually, none of these feel irresponsible, but collectively they create a pattern where your income supports your current lifestyle but never quite builds your future. And that's the part no one really talks about. The system isn't broken, and you're not bad with money, but you've likely adapted, without realizing it, to a financial structure where most of your income is already spoken for. Not by necessity alone, but by expectation. There's a psychological layer here that's easy to miss. When your income increases, your definition of normal quietly shifts with it. A $1,200 apartment becomes a $2,000 one. A used car becomes a financed one. Occasional dining becomes routine convenience. Not because you're trying to show off, but because it feels reasonable. After all, you worked for this. And that's exactly why it's so difficult to notice. Nothing feels excessive. Everything feels earned. But here's the simple math that rarely gets attention. If you're saving, let's say, $5,000 to $8,000 a year, on a $100K salary, that's less than 10% of your gross income, which means over a decade you might accumulate $70,000 to $100,000, assuming consistency. That's not insignificant, but it's also not enough to create real financial independence, especially when inflation, unexpected costs, and life changes are always part of the equation. So the feeling of being stuck doesn't come from a lack of income. It comes from a lack of distance between your earnings and your obligations. You're earning well, but most of it is already committed. Now compare that to how financially aware people tend to think. They don't just ask, can I afford this monthly? They ask, what does this cost me long term? A $450 car payment isn't just $450. Over 5 years, that's over $27,000. And that's money that could have been invested or simply left untouched. The same goes for housing decisions, subscriptions, lifestyle habits. The focus shifts from comfort today to flexibility tomorrow. Not extreme frugality, not deprivation, just awareness of trade-offs. Because every recurring expense reduces your ability to create options later. And once you see it that way, the feeling of being broke starts to make more sense. It's not about how much you earn, it's about how much of your future you